Orange Lake is 12,500 acres in size, one of the largest lakes in the north-central region of Florida, and is located approximately 20 miles southeast of Gainesville and 20 miles northeast of Ocala. Orange Lake connects directly to the Florida aquifer. The aquifer connection and extended dry periods periodically cause the lake to dry down, thus causing semi-aquatic and terrestrial plants to grow prolifically on top of the exposed nutrient-rich organic substrate. On a dry down, the sinkholes pull phosphates and nitrates out into the spring system, Silver Springs in particular. This happens due to a buildup of the organics, which is causing major problems to the spring system. When rainfall permits and water levels again reflood the lake, these plants and associated organic sediments will separate from the substrate, forming floating muck islands, commonly called floating tussocks. Floating tussocks on Orange Lake can range in size from 1/10 of an acre to upwards of 10 acres in size, and total hundreds of acres around the lake. Floating tussocks are very detrimental to the health of the lake. These tussocks will blow into shallow water areas where native, desirable, beneficial aquatic plants are established, shading the good plants out, killing them, and leaving more organics on the bottom. As the wind blows, it continues to move the tussocks around the lake, diminishing more and more desirable plant communities. In addition to the floating tussocks, water hyacinth and frogspit have currently expanded to thousands of acres around the lake. These two plants are capable of expanding up to an acre a month, causing additional problems with desirable plant communities, access, and most importantly, public safety. Orange Lake's enhancement should be a priority on everyone's list. Safety issues, access, lake-wide economics, fish and wildlife habitat are all issues that need to be immediately addressed. Enhancement activities such as muck removal during dry downs, in-lake mechanical harvesting, shredding, and limited herbicide spraying are just some of the techniques that can be used to improve Orange Lake. Remembering during the planning process that out of sight is not out of mind. Just putting the material back on the bottom and not somehow removing it from the lake proper will not solve the long-term problem. Currently, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission funds the majority of enhancement and exotic plant control projects on Orange Lake and all other public water resources in the state. FWC funding comes from annual state appropriations. FWC appropriations are then divided up on various projects statewide, and each project needs to be planned out, ranked on a priority basis, and permitted through various agencies before it can be implemented. However, certain crisis projects can get emergency funding if the need is obvious and if monies are available, or the state legislators fund Orange Lake individually. The floating tussock mats impeding access and causing major safety concerns should qualify for emergency funding. Orange Lake was once a thriving resource to the local and state economy for anglers, hunters, and recreational users. Today, very limited economic benefits and/or access are available. The dense, rank vegetation, both floating and rooted, has limited usable areas around the lake by over 60%. There are 5 things that need to be addressed soon. 1. Improve access. 2. Eliminate all safety issues with the floating tussocks. 3. Mechanically remove problematic vegetation and associated muck, using upland or in-lake disposal to keep costs in check. In 1942, Marjorie Keenan Rawlings wrote about navigating from the St. Johns River through the Ocklawaha River to the Orange Creek Basin. This could not be done today. PG Run in Orange Lake in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s was a world-class fishery and a major waterfowl hunting and viewing area. Now the lake is a major clogged-up mess that supports poor fishery habitat and limited waterfowl habitat, partially because of the narrow 301 box culvert. This closure of the outfall end of the lake primarily happened during the last 40 years. The 301 bridge and train tracks used to be on pilings. The new 4-lane Highway 301 was completed in 1962, which cut off approximately 4,000 acres of the lake to the east. The train bridge and levee contribute double to the narrow opening and diminished flow from the lake, thus clogging up the PG Run area to what it is today. What was once an open water area from the lake to the outfall area has become a dangerous, muck-filled, tree-laden marsh with limited to no access. The narrow opening at the box culvert and the long earthen levee have caused part of the overgrowth and exponential expansion of the marsh in what used to be open water areas. This problem desperately needs to be addressed. 4. Acquire permits and create separate plans for lake enhancement during high water and low water periods. 5. Acquire necessary funding for approved and permitted projects. As soon as these issues have been addressed, anglers, hunters, and recreational users should once again be able to use Orange Lake as they did in the not-so-distant past.